What's up, and welcome to Zetro's Toxic Vault. And I believe it's spider mating season right now. Yeah, him or she's coming out. I haven't asked what it is. Oh, hey, man, I thought we were on a first-name basis over there. I thought we had something going on. Now I got spider stuff all over the place. You're getting all over the camera. Did you get it on you, Walt?
No, he was facing you.
Anyway, welcome to Zetro's Toxic Vault. With me again is Mr. Walter Morgan. What's
Hey,
up,
Zet,
brother?
what's up?
And like
Let's
I
do
said,
this.
it's great having Walt here because he was on a lot of these adventures that we went on back in the day. And this was another one. And it was back in probably November or December of 19... No.
Was it 87?
88, I think, because we
88?
were out with MOD. Remember? We were out with MOD.
That's right.
And so we had just
88.
finished Anthrax Celtic Frost. We had gone home for a couple of weeks, and then we started back out with MOD. And we were coming through, but this show...
Which was a great tour, by the way.
Us and
that
MOD,
was
yeah.
fun.
We'll tell some stories from that. That was so fun, like Billy marching in Ottawa when they were protesting us. We got a lot of things that we'll riff on after that, but we want to talk about this one date. It was in Phoenix. It was called Peasures of the Flesh Festival, and I'll just say... this basically story, and we'll tell the whole story, but it's basically doing coke with Paul Di'Anno from Iron Maiden and having to jump the fence to escape from the cots. But we want to start. The story's going to go back earlier in the day. So while you were there,
That's a long day. As I
it was a
remember.
long day. So tell us about kind of how it was and who was on it.
Well, what I remember is, of course, you guys were headlining.
What he remembers.
What I remember. Yeah, you guys were headlining, but there are a lot of bands on that. But Paul Di'Anno's Battle Zone was one of them. I think Heathen is on there. A band from Phoenix. They were the opening band called Soothsayer.
Sacred Right?
Sacred Reich. And
Etrope.
Etrope.
Yeah,
and
Etrope.
That was a special show because Billy Milano actually picked Louis as his next guitar player right from that band that night, seeing him as one of the opening bands.
Yeah, because he fired Timmy that night, right? That was it.
Yeah.
Right, that evening, because I think that was Tim's last show with
Yeah, it was at
MOD,
the end
right?
of this tour, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it could have even been the last date. Hey, Walt, you like coffee?
Strong coffee.
All right. Well, if you like your coffee strong, Death Wish Coffee.
You can find it at Safeway. It's on the shelves.
There you go.
Yeah, it was at the end of this tour, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it could have even been the last date of that tour, but I if I remember or not, but a lot went on that day. It was like one of the first times we had played like an indoor festival, and it was kind of surrounded around Exodus's release of Pleasures of the Flesh a couple of months prior, and it was one of those kind of crazy nights where, again, nobody knew what was going to happen after the end, and so the show played on, and it was great. And if you guys were there, if you remember this, chime in, leave me comments, because I'll bring it back up and I'll talk about it again. Remind me, we might have done something that night. Those days were kind of hazy. How I'm remembering this shit as it is fucking amazing in its own right. But everybody sounded good. Everybody played real well. And then Walter, tell him how we started getting out. We were invited to a party, and then what happened?
Right. So after the show, the hometown boys, Soothsayer, invited everyone that could make it in the band to a party. So they're thinking, yeah. And I remember Scott, the tour manager back then.
Scott Burke.
Right. He told me, make sure the band gets back by 2 o'clock bus call, 2 a.m., because, shows end kind of late. So we had a few hours to kill. So we went over to a local party that was happening, and the band was having a real good time. I remember that. A real good time. You can imagine what
we always had a real good time.
That's right. And
I was 22 years old. I was having a hell of a time.
I can remember going up to each of them, I was like, hey, we got a 2 o'clock bus call. And they're all like, yeah, that's what they did. That's what they did. Like,
shut up, Walter.
Yeah. So
fuck you. We're not going back.
We never did make the 2 o'clock bus call.
No. I think we ended up there.
I think you closed the
remember
party.
back in the day. Even not today. I mean, bus drivers sleep at a certain time, in the day to a certain time, knowing that they have to drive at a certain time.
And there's a long drive coming up,
yeah,
right?
so if you didn't, I think we were in Phoenix and we were going to Albuquerque.
And that's a
I
long
think,
one.
you know, and so, I mean, maybe 9-10 hours. And so it's all scheduled that way for his sleep. And so, you know, when they
Plus,
say
you have
2
to pay them
o'clock.
overtime. If they're
Well, if they're late, but I'm just saying, showing courtesy of everybody doing their job and being cool, you show up when it's bus call. You show up even on tour now. Every band has a bus call, and everybody minds the bus call, and that's just the way it is. And so if it says bus call at 4:30 in the morning, your fucking ass better be ready to go.
I think you're more
at
mindful
4:30.
of the bus call nowadays,
Well,
being the
that's
mature
another
people that
thing.
you are.
Well, that's another
But
thing.
these are kids we're talking about in their 20s.
So we're at a party, and then somehow the party got moved to another house, right?
Yeah,
was it
actually,
in-
it started at the studio and then it got moved to
Right.
another
started at
house.
Studio.
That's
Studio
right.
Center. And then we went to this guy's house, and like everybody showed up, and I'm telling myself, because you know Paul Di'Anno's from Iron Maiden, I had fucking Eddie tattooed. I still have Eddie tattooed on my arm, and it's like this is the guy. I mean, fuck, he's one of my influences. So we're hanging out with him. So I had a little speed in those days. We all had a little bit of speed in those days, and I asked him if you want to do a little speed, and Paul was willing to party quite really well. Love the guy. He's a great guy. Wish Paul well. And we went into a bathroom and kind of made a couple of zaps and keyed it up. All of a sudden we hear, the cops are here. It's like, the cops want to come in the party. And we're like, what? No, the cops are coming in the party. So they come in. So me and him dive out of this fucking bathroom and go through, I don't know, the living room and then the dining room and hit through the sliding glass door and hit the backyard. And by that time, I look back and I see through the fucking bay window, cops are already coming in the house. And remember, we're just doing fucking crank in the bathroom. I'm wired. He's wired. So the only way out is to jump this fence. So all of us, I know me and him at least, I don't remember the rest of the band did. We jumped this fucking fence. I'm like climbing like a kid. And we started running. It wasn't far from where the gig was, so we didn't really need a ride back. I remember we all showed up, and each one of us were coming after each other. And it was probably, 5:30 in the morning?
The sun was coming up, and the bus driver was sitting there, and
Fucking
Scott was
road
sitting there.
manager, everybody was screaming at us, where the fuck have you guys been? You fucking guys are late. Bertie's supposed to be. And Bertie, our bus driver, screaming at us.
Older gentleman.
Yeah, older guy, you know what I mean?
Old school.
Which I can't believe he put up with our shit. There were so many times our tennis shoes were sitting out. Remember, Bernie threw them outside the bus. We'd come out from sound check, and he'd be up there, and all of our tennis shoes would be laying. He's like, leave this. Do you live here? Is this how you live with your mother? He'd just be yelling at us. So, I remember that day well, and I always told myself, as I'm climbing the fence, I look over at fucking Paul Di'Anno. I'm like, Paul, I said to myself, I'm going to tell this story in 30 years. And now it's
Here you are.
32 years later, I'm still telling this story. So, have you got your Zetro's Toxic Vault t-shirt? GreyhavenMedia.net. Get yours today. I'm climbing the fence. I look over at fucking Paul Di'Anno. I'm like, Paul, I said to myself, I'm going to tell this story in 30 years. And now it's
Here you are.
32 years later, I'm still telling this story. So,
One more thing.
Yeah, go ahead, Walt.
I remember earlier in the day when the roadies were loading in the gear and I was helping load in the gear. And in the back, there's this driveway, and that's where you parked back then. But out of the distance comes this big, like, van with the box trailer in the back, you know, one of these smaller ones. And I'm thinking, oh, there's another band's coming to load in. And they drop the back door goes up and open, and there's a mattress there, and all the guys in Heathen were there. It was doubling as their tour bus / equipment van. But here they are, like just waking up because boom. But it's like, you know, in Phoenix, it's like 90-something degrees out there,
90
right?
million degrees. But even in November or no, it was in January or February of '88, and it was just it was even not in Phoenix. It's still 80
Still
degrees.
hot,
Yeah, it's still hot.
And you know, in a metal van, I guess that's how they travel through the night. But that's
so.
funny.
Remember to leave me comments on that. If you were there, let me know from the experience. If you were at the party, I'd love to hear from you and what you thought of it because it was absolutely fantastic. Remember to see what happens when you smoke weed all during your show. Remember to subscribe to my channel. And you got anything else, Walt?
Give some likes.
Horns up, fuckers. We'll talk to you soon.